Tonight on Sports Desk, basketball is back. The Canes tip off their season tonight, hosting Lehigh at the Watsco Center.
That's right, Maddie, and the Canes football season is going from bad to worse. We head in the trenches for a reaction to Miami's third straight loss.
And we take an in-depth look at a serious problem that's taken over high school sports in South Florida.
All that and more, Sports Desk starts right now.
I'm Ed Reed, and you're watching Sports Desk.
Hi, I'm Jim Kelly, former UM guy. You're watching Sports Desk.
What's up? I'm DJ Williams, and y'all watching Sports Desk.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Desk. I'm David Perez.
And I'm Madison Brown. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, Maddie, according to 24/7 Sports, the football program contacted Clemson's former starting quarterback Kelly Bryant this week ahead of his intended transfer at the end of this season. Bryant's dual threat style is similar to N'Kosi Perry, but with much more experience, and he would be eligible to play in 2019.
David, fans have been vocal about wanting a quarterback change, and former linebacker DJ Williams even said he thinks Miami would make the playoff with Bryant under center.
Yeah, Maddie, but for now, Miami is stuck with what they have. And last Saturday, it wasn't pretty. Fifth night game of the season for Miami against their division rival Duke, trying to turn things around after 2 straight losses. Canes go through the familiar smoke, but unfortunately for Miami fans, they followed an all too familiar script as well. Early on, what's the best remedy for a struggling quarterback? How about an 83-yard touchdown run? Give me that, DJ. The sophomore sweeps it to the outside and paddles his way into the end zone in the middle of a rainstorm. Dallas had 124 of Miami's 300 yards rushing on the ground to tie it up in the second quarter. Later on, though, Travis Homer follows up DJ. He follows the Pigs up front and gives Miami a 12-7 lead into the half. Some hope for the Canes, but it wouldn't last long. On his only pass of the game, Quentin Harris goes Tim Tebow on Miami over the top in the red zone. Daniel Helm gives the Blue Devils a 20-12 lead on that catch and hauls in Duke's only touchdown reception of the game. It was only an 8-point lead, but it was one of the final nails in Miami's coffin. N'Kosi Perry checks in here. He left earlier, came in twice, but in the fourth quarter, Miami ends it for themselves. DJ Dallas goes from one of the lifebloods of the game to its ultimate decider on that fumble. Duke's defense finishes with 2 forced fumbles and 3 sacks, like the one you see right there, to dominate Miami 20-12. Our In the Trenches crew takes a look at what went wrong.
Welcome to In the Trenches. I'm your host, Alex Manella. He is Josh White. We're here to break down Hurricanes football. Josh, last week did not go as planned for the Canes. The Duke Blue Devils raining down on the homecoming parade of Miami, handing them their 3rd straight loss. What went wrong for the Canes?
Alex, from the kickoff, Miami was behind the 8 ball. 75-yard touchdown run for the Blue Devils on the first play of scrimmage. Then the rain comes down like you talked about, and that threw the Hurricanes off their game plan. It was supposed to be another audition for Malik Rozier and N'Kosi Perry at quarterback, but it was the ground and pound attack for the Hurricanes. That was really their strong suit. DJ Dallas, an 83-yard touchdown run, the 6th longest run in program history for a score. Then Travis Homer, a 6-yard touchdown run as well. So Miami's offense was really rolling, but then that halftime intermission came and Duke flipped the script a little bit. Miami's defense was on the field for way too long. Duke took advantage of it, 13 unanswered points in that second half. Miami failed to score after the halftime intermission, and Duke picked up its first win in Miami since 1976.
Now, after this loss, Miami fans starting to get a little bit antsy. Some say that Coach Richt might be on his way out the door. Do you think Richt's job is safe?
Alex, I do think his job is safe. I think it's been too short of a time for Mark Richt as the head coach at UM. If you kind of look at his resume so far of what he's done in less than 3 seasons, it's been impressive so far. Obviously, he got off to that hot start, 19-4, a 10-0 season last year, a #2 national ranking, an appearance in the Orange Bowl, but it's been a little shaky right now. 5-7 in their last 12 games, and that's what really kind of dilutes that, if you will, for the Hurricanes. But I think when you look at the recruiting class that Mark Richt's starting to put together, kind of that camaraderie that the team has, there's more elite talent, there's more level of play that's at a higher level that the Hurricanes can really function and make bowl games year after year.
Now this week, Miami is at Georgia Tech. Always a tough game for the Canes. They're looking to end their skid. Do you think the Canes can do it against Georgia Tech?
Alex, I don't think they can do it against Georgia Tech, to be quite frank with you, and I'll tell you why. When you talk about what Miami has struggled with this season, it's their offense. They're not efficient. Their quarterback play has struggled. Their offensive line has been shaky, and that's what Georgia Tech prides themselves on. They're a team that possesses the football. They average 377 rushing yards per game, and that's going to keep Miami off the field. The Hurricanes are just 1-3 this season when trailing in possession, and I think that's going to be a problem for Miami. They're 0-4 when they fail to score 20 points. They failed to do that the last 3 weeks. I think that's going to happen again. I'm going to take the Yellow Jackets 20-17, and the only way Miami has a chance is if N'Kosi Perry, who's starting the game, can have a miracle game and kind of have that career high like he did against FIU.
We'll have to see what happens on Saturday. But that's all the time that we have. Now back to you, Maddie.
Thanks, guys. And from problems at the collegiate level for Miami to a growing epidemic at the high school level in South Florida, David Perez is live in the control room with the story. David, there's an issue that has gone under the radar across the nation.
Yeah, Madison, the issue is centered around performance-enhancing drugs in high school sports. And while the numbers may make you think, the pressure on student athletes in South Florida continues to rise. And in an environment where these teens are forced to perform, they may turn to a dangerous thing to find results. For most South Florida high school athletes, success on the playing field is everything.
Football is very important to me. That's my only way out. Ain't no plan B, ain't no plan C.
Go!
And in a high school sports world where college scholarships can depend heavily on the-field performance, studies show a rise in the use of performance-enhancing drugs, or PEDs. According to a 2013 survey by the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids, 11% of the nearly 4,000 high school athletes across the nation surveyed admitted to using HGH, human growth hormones. That's more than double the number which reported using the type of PED just 1 year prior.
I'm quite sure that it probably takes place.
We on our journey. Clap it up.
Nate Hudson has been the head football coach at South Dade High School for 6 years. And in a culture where college scholarships reign supreme, Hudson says athletes will often take performance-enhancing drugs to keep up with their competition.
They do feel the pressure because, well, that's one of my best friends, or that's one of my childhood friends or my teammates back in Pop Warner. And I got to get on the same page. We always done things together, and he recognized that the skill level has advanced, and his is still stationary.
Just kind of feel it in their body language. It's like we're talking real dollars. Either I'm going to make it, I'm going to support my family, or not. You know, that type of pressure, and you know, that's tough.
And the issue is not limited to football.
These kids are being pressured since they were 6 years old. Hey, you got to get a hit. You got to get a home run.
Lázaro Collazo has been a face of the youth baseball community in Miami for over a decade. In Collazo's view, in many cases, performance-enhancing drugs come down to the parent influence.
Here in Miami, everything goes back to the parents. That expectation goes back to the parent. The parent doesn't want that kid to fail, so then they start looking for things for that kid not to fail. And that's where a parent goes wrong.
There are always people in the fringe, people that are lurking, more to make a buck than anything else. And we were offered steroids, and I said no. I don't know what that's going to do to his body, to his heart, to his life.
They just want that quick fix. You know, this is the microwave era for baseball, for sports. Put it in the microwave, touch 1 minute, there you have your food. And that's the same thing that they want to do with baseball players and young athletes.
And those young athletes are found on the playing field with women as well. In that same 2013 survey conducted by the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids, 9% of teen girls reported trying synthetic HGH. But the numbers came as a surprise to some in the Miami sports community.
In women's volleyball, like, I've never heard of that. I've never, like, that just still shocks me. So I think they would just kind of hide the fact that they're doing that if they are.
Have I felt or noticed differences in kids outside of the county, or when we travel to different states and stuff like that to play, that you could think, man, I saw this girl this year, and this year she looks completely different? Does it happen? Absolutely, it happens. We know that it exists. We look at it and we frown upon it.
But while the culture frowns upon it, the coaches are awake to the issue.
You know, I've seen kids now, all of a sudden they look good, and then maybe they hit that brick wall. Eventually get themselves out of the funk, but the only question that you might have is, did they resort to that to get it?
Performance-enhancing drugs have become the elephant in the room for South Florida high school athletics, and the consequences may be life-altering.
Across South Florida, the pressures and problems persist. Tune in next week for the second part of our three-part series where we discuss just how harmful these substances can be.
Coming up, men's basketball season tips off tonight at the Watsco Center. We hear from Coach Jim Larrañaga on his expectations for the year when we return.
I'm a single mother, and I was the main one working, so I never thought that I could go back to school, you know? My sister, my mother, everybody wanted to help me with my kids. I could not have gotten my diploma without my family.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
The Miami Hurricanes are geared up for the 2018-19 basketball season. The women's team has already won their first 2 games, and the men's are kicking off their season tonight, creating a lot of attention for both squads. Our Hang Time crew discusses both teams' potential in this week's edition of Hurricane Hang Time.
Welcome to Hurricane Hang Time. I'm your host, Charlotte Payne, joined today with analyst Brendan Riley, and women's basketball is off to a great start, with them defeating FIU 94-43, and Sarah Mortensen really led the way for the Canes with a career high of 24 points. Walk me through that Tuesday night game.
Yeah, Charlotte, so you can really tell from the beginning that Miami was the better team. They were bigger, faster, stronger than the Panthers, and it really showed in the first half. Beatrice Montpremier dominated. She had 12 points, ended with 14 points and 12 rebounds and a double-double in her first regular season game in a Miami uniform. Micaiah Gray also added in 15 points as well, but really it was a Sarah Mortensen show. She came off the bench. She shot under 30% from 3 last season, and then she came out this season and went 8 of 9 to start the year. She tied a school record for most threes made in a single game, and she's really that spark plug off the bench for the Canes that they needed to defeat FIU.
And they also defeated Stephen F. Austin this morning. Micaiah Gray leading all scorers with 25 points. Walk me through that game as well.
Yeah, Charlotte. So Stephen F. Austin came here today, and both teams really relied on the 3. They lived and died by it, and Miami lived. Micaiah Gray at 25 points. She went 5 of 8 from three-point land, went 9 of 15 from the field. Laura Cornelius also added 9 points as well, and Beatrice Montpremier had 14. But to start the season off, Miami is now shooting 52.4% from the field, and they're shooting 51.9% from three-point land. If you shoot like that consistently throughout the season, you're going to win yourself a lot of ball games going down the road.
And the men's team, their game just tipped off against Lehigh at Watsco. Talk to me about how you think that game's going to play out.
Yeah, so Miami's welcoming the Patriot League preseason favorites in Lehigh. They played earlier this week against Monmouth and routed them. They're going to need to be able to control the three-point arc, and then they're also going to need to be able to contain Pat Andre. At 31 points the other day. They're also going to need to be able to control the defensive glass. Lehigh out-rebounded Monmouth 47-28 the other night, and so you're going to need big games from Dewan Hernandez and Ibuka Izundo down low to be able to control the boards and get the offense going the other way in the transition to open up shots for the likes of Chris Likes, and then also DJ Vasilovich from three-point land, because the Canes are going to need a three-point ball to go down this year if they want to compete come ACC play.
And I think Canes fans are excited to see this game go down as well. And UMTV reporter Josh White is live at the Watsco Center right now. Josh, you were able to sit down with Coach Larrañaga to discuss this season. What did he have to say about this matchup?
Well, Charlotte, concerning tonight's season opener, the Hurricanes host the preseason Patriot League favorite, the Lehigh Mountain Hawks, and the Hurricanes will be without the returning leading scorer. Just moments ago, the university released a statement stating Dewan Hernandez will be withheld from competition as the university and the NCAA review his eligibility. Miami was included in the FBI's investigation into college basketball, but they were redacted last month. However, it seems that there is negative speculation. It seems like there is negative speculation still around the program, and Miami hopes they can bounce back tonight here at the Watsco Center. Here's what Jim Larrañaga had to say earlier today.
So obviously last season, kind of the standard you've set for your program is making the postseason. You kind of see the ball go through the rim against Loyola Chicago. What did you learn from that experience?
Well, the NCAA tournament is win in advance, lose and go home, and unfortunately, we were not able to make that last 1-and-1 at the free throw line. So hopefully our guys learn that anything can happen in the NCAA tournament. I don't think anyone was predicting that Loyola would get to the Final Four, but that could have been us last year.
DeJuan Hernandez, Chris Likes, two of the returners for this season. How have you seen them grow from last year?
Well, I think DeJuan in particular has really matured his offensive game. And he's really focused on his defense and his rebounding. And if he can keep that up, which is difficult, it's a real challenge, it'll really help us. Chris Likes went from being a rookie to being our leading scorer in the last 10 games of the season. So he had shoulder surgery during the off season, but he's now back 100% healthy and playing very, very well.
Are there any other guys that have really jumped off the page to you?
Well, I think DJ Vasiljevic has worked really, really hard to get himself in fantastic shape. He's going to have to defend at a high level because the guys who play that position are great athletes and have more size than DJ, probably more speed and quickness as well.
Obviously, the ACC is one of the toughest conferences in college basketball, if not the toughest, but your non-conference schedule, does that give you time to kind of put things together with all these moving pieces?
Well, we open up against Lehigh, who's predicted to win their conference. Then we play Stephen F. Austin, who's a preseason favorite to win their conference. So we're going to find out right away our first two home games here at the Watsco Center. And hopefully our crowd and our students will turn out to support us. But hopefully we'll learn an awful lot about ourselves early in the season before we head out to Anaheim, California to play in the Wooden Classic, which will be facing some high-level talent out there.
With that ACC schedule, you guys were picked 10th, but every year you've exceeded it. How do you think this team will fare?
Yeah, I hope we are able to compete with the best teams in our league. We've got a pretty talented offensive team. We're really focused right now on trying to improve our defense and our rebounding. But the program is headed in the right direction. We've got a lot of good guys. We continue to recruit at a very high level, and we want to build on our tradition.
While the Hurricanes will be without Hernandez tonight here at the Watsco Center, they will have his high school teammate, Zach Johnson. Johnson transferred this season to the U, and our reporter Isaiah Kim Martinez has more on the redshirt senior.
Yeah, Josh, we all know that for a collegiate athlete, playing in front of family is special. Now, performing in front of family while in your hometown, that's a dream come true. Graduate transfer basketball player Zach Johnson is living this dream, and he's been ready for this moment for a long time. Determined. There is no better word to describe UM senior Zach Johnson as he aims for the NBA. Zach Johnson! He's come a long way since he picked up a basketball at age 6.
My older cousins was always playing basketball, and if I was going to their house, we was always on the court or playing outside, and so just seeing their love for the game, it kind of just inspired me to play.
An interest turned into an obsession.
Sherman Circle. I used to walk there all the time. I'd be there from the moment the sun comes up to the lights going out at the park, so that was my park.
And he got really good, really fast.
When did you know that, hey, I'm pretty good at this, maybe I can do this for a long time?
Middle school. I kind of grew into the player I was becoming, just being more advanced. So I was like, okay, I think I could do this for a while.
Fast forward to his days at Miami Norland High School, when Johnson rose to be the #1 rated South Florida prospect by select magazines.
He worked in 9 games. It was something totally different. He was a gamer, as I call it. The bigger the game, the more he was going to step up.
He committed to Florida Gulf Coast University, but reached a roadblock in his first season. He was forced to sit out because of medical reasons.
It was the first time somebody told me that, yeah, you can't play basketball right now.
But he came back stronger than ever, scoring more than 1,000 points as an Eagle.
Zach Johnson for the tie.
With 1 year of athletic eligibility left, Johnson chose to transfer and come back home to South Florida and play for Jim Larinaga's Miami Hurricanes. Part of his decision was to prove to scouts he could succeed in the ACC, arguably the best basketball conference in the country. But even more, he couldn't wait to be around his loved ones on a regular basis again. And this includes both high school and current teammate DeJuan Hernandez.
Knowing that I was going to play with him again is really exciting. Being on the court together, like every time me and Zach play together, we win a championship, so we're trying to keep that alive.
Tonight, Johnson will be playing in his first college basketball game. And to have it in Miami, it couldn't be sweeter.
Some people don't even get the chance to play that much their senior year. It's going to be real emotional, but it's going to be thankful.
And it's worth noting that transfer players have excelled in Coach Jim Larenega's system in years past, and Johnson will definitely be one to look out for. Remember, Canes basketball playing in their season opener right now as we speak against Lehigh. Reporting for UMTV, I'm Isaiah Kim Martinez. David?
Thanks, Isaiah. Now on to the tennis courts. Both Hurricanes tennis teams were in action today at the ITA Fall Nationals. The women's tennis seed was led by junior Estela Perez-Somariba, who came into the tournament ranked number 3 in the nation. She advanced to the round of 16 before being upset to enter tournament run. The med team was led by redshirt junior Dane Dunlap. Dunlap is currently in the quarterfinals. And up next, we take an inside look at the life of a Canes soccer star, Fallon Tulis-Joyce. We hear from the keeper on her life inside the goalpost, as well as quite an interesting collection she has off the pitch. Don't go anywhere. And now it's time for some trivia. The Miami women's basketball team dominated FIU in their first game of the season. Junior Sarah Mortensen had a career-high 8 3-pointers that tied a school record. Who was the only other Hurricane in history to record 8 threes in a game? Was it A, Jessica Thomas, B, Rakuna Williams, C, Tamara James, or D, Adrienne Motley? We'll be right back.
Salad on Saturday, fruit on Friday, throw a ball Thursday. Water Wednesday, touch your toes Tuesday. Let's move Monday, swap us next Sunday.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. So keep them active and eating well every day. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
Alrighty, so what do you think about this Georgia Tech game coming up?
I'm going to be there tomorrow. I'm flying out after this, so
in
we'll
Atlanta.
see. I'm a little nervous. I'll be wearing my orange and green, though.
Yeah, well, let's hope you see a win.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well,
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back. If you guessed B, you're correct. Rakuna Williams made 8 3-pointers in the game for the Canes on 2 different occasions. She went on to be a WNBA All-Star for the Tulsa Shock and played in the WNBA Finals last season with the Los Angeles Sparks.
the Hurricanes swimming and diving team ended their home season with a dual meet against the Boston College Eagles and the Florida Atlantic Owls at the Whitten University Center pool. The Canes started off strong with a win in the 200-yard medley relay, beating out BC by a couple of seconds. Then, junior Manon Viguier placed first in the 200-yard freestyle, followed by freshman Coco Hall, who took the victory in the 50-yard freestyle. Miami ended their season in Coral Gables with a 1-1 home record. The Canes will face off against the Purdue Boilermakers in a two-day matchup starting November 10th. From the pool to the pitch, Soccer wrapped up their season this week.
Yeah, Maddie, they wrapped it up, and redshirt senior Fallon Tulis-Joyce recently finished her career, securing an All-ACC second-team nomination. Tej Joshi sat down with the Long Island native to talk about life on and off the field in this week's edition of Athlete of the Week. Tej?
Hey everybody, I'm Tej Joshi, and welcome to this edition of Athlete of the Week. This week, we are joined by University of Miami goalie, Fallon Tulis-Joyce. Thank you so much for joining us, Fallon.
Thank you for having me.
So, you're a senior, you're on your way out. Now, we don't want to hear too much about what you did on the playing field, but what you learned in the classroom at UM. Tell me a little bit about your major here.
Yeah, so I'm marine science and bio double major, so a lot of my time was spent on the beach over at Rasmus, and that's a lot of what I spent.
That's awesome, spending time at the beach. Now I got to ask you, here in Miami-Dade County, across South Florida, what's your personal favorite beach?
It's got to be Cranon. It's a classic. It also has volleyball nets, so I love playing different sports.
That's awesome, that's awesome. And I know you probably can't wear them while you're at the beach, but I know you have a huge sock collection. Tell me a little bit how you got that started.
Yeah, so it was kind of just a way of showing my personality without having to actually say anything. People would be like, oh, nice socks, and it's a way to connect with them.
That's awesome. Do you happen to be wearing any funny socks today?
Yeah, I actually am. I actually have, if anybody's familiar with Rick and Morty, I got Morty in my favorite squirrel episode, so yeah.
That's awesome. I think we're all definitely familiar with Rick and Morty. And to join you, I actually wore my funny socks today. They're not quite as funny as yours. They just got these classic green and white stripes.
That's awesome.
You know, do you have any that look like this?
No, I tend to stray away from patterns. I like different cartoons and stuff.
That's awesome. Well, before we go, last question. Growing up in Long Island with the name Fallon, did you ever get mixed up with Jimmy Fallon?
Oh, that's how I explain my name. What's your name? Fallon, like Jimmy Fallon. It's just an easy way to get past that.
All right, well, that's awesome. And thank you so much for joining us for Athlete of the Week. We'll see you next time.
Still to come, Canes volleyball looks to take down Wake Forest tonight and North Carolina. We'll check in with the team and update you on that score after the break.
And one NBA star puts two defenders on a poster at the same time. An incredible play on the hardwood you just can't miss when we come back.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with two buckles? What do you even need two buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
Canes volleyball has entered the home stretch of their season, and Miami is currently handing it to Wake Forest on the road. The Canes are up a set and need just one more point to wrap up the second set, which they currently lead 24-20.
Thanks for the update, David. Now it's time for your play of the day. We'll take you to Utah, where the Jazz took on the Dallas Mavericks in a Western Conference matchup, and the outcome is unbelievable and unforgettable. Let's take a look. 3 seconds to go, the Jazz leads by 21, but that just wasn't enough. Donovan Mitchell dribbles down and slam dunk. Look at the air he got on that. Soaring over two Dallas guards, the crowd goes absolutely wild. Mitchell is clear for landing, and he brings down the house with him. One more time, he drives past the defense and destroys the dunk, clinching the victory for the Jazz. Jogging off the court with his tongue out, pure celebration. That, folks, is your play of the day.
What a dunk, Maddie. And now from the hard one to the gridiron. This weekend over in Austin, Texas, the West Virginia Mountaineers faced off against the Texas Longhorns, and one WVU player really got his head in the game, literally. Texas junior defensive back Anthony Cook gets his foot stuck in West Virginia sophomore Josh Sills' helmet, and it's really lodged in there. Cook is on one leg trying to shake it out. Sills tries helping him out even, but the cleat just wouldn't budge. Eventually they bring in backup. Sills takes off his helmet, and the referees are able to pry the shoe out of the face mask.
Wow, David, I guess they call it football for a reason.
Okay, well, I got another pun for you. West Virginia ended up winning the game, so I guess that one really put them a step ahead.
Oh, I think that was a little better.
Yeah,
that was clever.
We'll see.
I
Well, that's enough bad jokes down here in the studio. We'll send you off to your weekend. Have a great night.
Thanks for watching.